man. Oh man, I love my East Coast to West Coast. Oh my. Oh man. I'm gonna drop a couple videos today. Yes, sir. Well, you know what? I might turn the commentary up real quick. Hold on for one sec. Man. See if somebody comes through. Man. Appreciate that like. Man, what's up, D-Man? I did a live like this before. Um, that's when I was talking about body counts and stuff like that. This was in the summer. I was watching the Barca Madrid game, the friendly, and I was talking about body count at the same time. So right now I'm watching Netherlands versus Ireland in the European champions qualifying. They got these soccer players now running doing slave shifts. Like they got all these games crammed up at one time because they still haven't recovered of all those games that they missed in 2020. So they've packed in all these games since November 2020 and they're still recovering now in 2023, trying to pack out these trying to pack in these games, these qualifiers, World Cup qualifying, European Championship qualifying, CONCACAF qualifying, African Cup nations qualifying. They got these people running ships. But yeah, just like the title says, we're gonna talk about my villains' origin stories, right? Why I come up with most of the topics I do. I'll start off like this since I do have you in the chat. I'll start off like this. My journey to the RP was very interesting because in high school, I thought I was RP, but I wasn't. So basically, in high school, I was RP about. Um, I was basically aware about how politics really go. Um, I was aware of, you know, you just religion, right? They talk about RP rage, but I never went through a real RP rage because it already happened when I started learning about religion and how it worked and how most of the people that stands on religion really don't know what they're talking about. So that was kind of like my RP rage. So when I actually completed, I guess per se, even though it's just the beginning, once really started going into the RP when it comes to women, I never really had a rage when it came to that because I already had it with religion. So you know what I mean? And unfortunately, when it came to that, I think the people that got the brunt of my RP rage when it came to religion, I regret that. So when it comes to this topic right here, when it comes to just, being RP when it comes to relationships or just dynamics between men and women, I I it wasn't it was just easier for me to digest, way easier for me to digest. So it was all good at the end of the day. Um, so in college, what basically led me to the RP was in college. I think the first 2 weeks. I like telling this story. Um, we had girls come into our room, um, and I told this story before. I think twice, but I'll say it here. We had girls come into our room. I wasn't smoking. I'm not a smoker, but our roommate he brought these girls separate living room space. Um, I guess one of the girls actually was telling the truth about them being able to smoke, but one of the girls really couldn't smoke, and she was a lightweight. So, long story short, one of the girls started throwing up after smoking that stuff. Now, mind you, it was me, my roomie. We in a separate room. We're not even part of the smoking session. And then we had another two people in our dorm room because I was in the athletes dorm, so we have like a big room setup. We're not crammed up in one space. It's an athletes dorm, so we had another room for our two people, and the guy that brought the girls in, it was just him and the two girls in the living room. That's how big our dorm room was, in the living room, right? They was in the living room smoking. One of the girls started throwing up. We started hearing it. And I shit you not, she had such a bad reaction to the weed that she was smoking that she was head first in the toilet. She was head first in the toilet for for 2 hours. Sorry, I'm watching the game at the same time. I'm watching the game at the same time. So, by the way, watching the Netherlands and Ireland game right now. But she was there. We ended up having to take responsibility of the hoe because her friend, put in quotation marks, this is why I don't trust this whole friendship stuff. Her friend decided to just leave her there with us. And she was like, I got class tomorrow. So she just left her with us. And I was just like, whoa, we got class too. We don't know this girl. That's your. She left her there with us. I was laughing so hard because I wasn't even part. I wasn't even smoking with him. And this is where when I saw how the friend ditched her and I saw how effed up that girl was, because after work she's gonna pass out, and now we gotta take care of her. She's gonna have to sleep it off in our dorm room. So we were just like, man, this is a fucked up situation. We gotta keep her away from everybody so she don't wake up and talk about somebody did something to her. So well, not me, because I didn't go near her. The guy that brought the girls over, ended up taking care of her, put her in the living room by herself because she was passed out, she was beat, and I was laughing so hard because I was like, now I understand why these athletes get in trouble. Now I understand why these athletes get in trouble. I used to literally be like, when I would hear certain things about girls getting into it with athletes at college, I used to always take the girls side. I used to be like, man, this is incredible. Why would this happen? Until you in that situation, now you understand why they get in trouble. Now, luckily for her, the roommates that I had, these were great guys. Those were great guys. Like outstanding guys. Hold up, Xavi Simmons might be through. He passed it back. Gakpo to Xavi Simmons. Oh, that would have been beautiful. But by the way, the guys, my roommates, they were such great people. I'm still in contact with most of them to these days, but like they were beyond patient because I know people that I went to high school with, they would have kicked her out and just left her out for any anything that happened to her. So now, this is when I got that realization. I was like, this is what be happening most of the time. And then I started seeing, my other my teammates, whatever. I'm hearing their stories. Oh, this girl came over last night, blah, blah. And I was like, oh. And I'm really seeing how the girls are acting on campus when they're finally having freedom for the first time. I'm like, oh, so this is how hoes get in trouble. And this is why athletes end up getting in trouble. This is why these frat boys end up getting these charges. It's way it's now I understand what would be happening. These hoes be acting a GD fool. And then when shit goes left, ninjas got to take the brunt of it. And mind you, watch this. They treated her like a queen, my roommates, and made sure she was straight. Dude, I was scared the whole time because I already knew if she woke up and decided to be like, I don't know what happened last night, they would have, what would happen? They would have been blaming me because out of all of my roommates, I know I'm the ugliest. And oh, well, I wasn't the shortest, but still, I know they would have had my face in the mugshot looking crazy. It would have been like me, just like this. Like I'm gonna show you my one day I'm gonna be brave enough to show you my photo, my team photo, and they would have had me looking my team photo would have me looking crazy, dog. By the way, I was a walk-on. I didn't have a scholarship or anything. I had an academic scholarship, and then they put me on the team. But they would have had me looking crazy. And then watch this. Right after, yeah, they easily a false accusation. All of this was going through my head in one night. I was like, I understand now. I know why these athletes get in trouble. Now imagine she's on a big. I went to a small school, a very small school, very local, just small, chill, and dirt like that will still happen. Now imagine if she was at a big campus like a UConn or Ohio State, right? Michigan. And you in there with like there are predators, dog. And you in there with starving ninjas or starving predators. And this girl out there passed out. Lord knows what happened to her. But they literally, like her friend just left her with us. She doesn't know us at all. Now, let me tell you what happened the next morning. She got to her classes, whatever. And mind you, the friend ended up actually taking one of my history classes. So I ended up seeing her. I was like, this bitch act like nothing happened. But the girl that was passed out from the weed, apparently this girl was talking shit about us. And and then I got it back from one of my teammates. So I heard from one of my teammates, she said I did something. And the most I did was when she was in the bathroom, I was just like, oh shit, are you okay? And then she was like, I'm like, well, I guess not. Close the bathroom door right after. That's all I did. And that's basically what everybody else did. I remember one of my one of my roommates actually took a picture of her and put her on blast on Snapchat. She had no words for him. She had words for me, apparently. This is why I said, like, if I knew if she said something, my face would have been the cover of it. Now watch this. Once I heard that, and she was talking ish about the guy that brought her in the room in the first place, that's when I was like, that was the first time in my life. I'm talking about in my life. That I was like, wow, these bitches ain't shit. I'm talking about in my life. That was the beginning. You see, what happens is people just assume that people find this space because of a girl broke with their heart or somebody left them in the friend zone. No, no, no. I'm telling you, people have all types of stories why they find this space. I know some people they find a space because like their friend committed self-deletion because of a chick. and they're just trying to, what happened? Like for me, it's when if you I'll say this, I always was the type of person, and I still am, to give people the benefit of the doubt. But when you really show who you are, to me, so much to a point where you're talking ish, and I'm not even affected, and I'm not even part of it, and people start talking ish, I was like, oh, so this is how shit goes down. Ever since that incident, I've anytime a girl says something happened to them, or a girl say, "Oh, he did this to me," or a girl say, "Oh, can you? This guy, my ex is a narcissist or whatever." I always be asking, "Wait, but what did you did? What did you do?" And I really started doing that in 2017. And I'll say, well, this incident happened in 2016. So once that incident had occurred, this is when I really started looking up certain shit. Certain shit started popping up on my algorithm. One of the first people was O'Shea Duke Jackson, right? That's one of the first people. Because I already followed some people from the Black Manosphere already, but O'Shea Duke Jackson was really on my algorithm. But then for some reason, Corey Holcomb. Oh no, you good, Pyro. You good. You good, Pyro. Then Corey Holcomb just started popping up on my algorithm because I started really listening to Patrice O'Neal's comedy. And I heard of Corey Holcomb's comedy too, but I didn't know these guys had like shows. That's fine, Pyro. I didn't know like Patrice O'Neal and Corey Holcomb had shows. Then I started listening to their podcast while I was on campus, and everything started making sense. Especially when I was listening to Corey Holcomb. I was listening to Corey Holcomb on Zoe Williams' show. Everything started making sense to me after that. I was like, okay, this is what I've been like. I'm like, I'm missing something here. Like, I'll be, this is when, and then once I started listening to Corey Holcomb, Patrice, somebody in Corey Holcomb's comment section was like, have you ever heard of Tom Likas? And it's been a wrap from there. I started listening to Tom Likas, and it was a wrap from there. They should have never recommended me that. And then, the YouTube algorithm just does its thing. Oh, yeah, it's good to see you too, Pyro. But I was talking about, you're going to see in the beginning, because I've talked about this before, about what brought me to the RP, the incident that brought me to the RP. So, a long story short, Pyro, to keep a long story short, when I was in college, some girls tried to come into our room, smoke weed. I wasn't a part of it. This girl ended up being passed out. Ninjas had to take care of her, and she was still talking shit about us afterwards. That's what led me to the RP. That's what led me to the RP. Just to keep a long story short about that. Oh yeah, and by the way, I'm watching a game right now. I couldn't watch the France versus Gibraltar game, the European Championship qualifying, because it's on Fubo TV. I'm very disappointed about that. So I'm watching the Netherlands versus Ireland game. Just for watching, just for Xavi Simmons. Xavi Simmons is one of my favorite players to watch. Um, you know, so I'm just watching what I can. Yeah, no, no, no. Because I'll say this, Pyra. I'm gonna put the link to two of the videos where I talk about my original RP story, and I explain the story in depth in those videos. I'll put it in the description right after this live stream ends. But yeah, because college, well, really the college experience, me staying on campus, I don't know how you cannot be RP aware after going to college. After going to like staying on campus and seeing what goes down, and especially I went to like a really small school and seeing the ish that went down, like there's no way you can't, like, you have to be RP after that. After seeing the ish I saw, I was like, oh. And I'll say this, after college, let me tell you something, man. Anytime you hear, anytime you hear, um, a woman say something happened to her in college, you gotta question it. Yeah, they talk all that talk all that smack. Them, I'm telling you, dog. I ain't trust no bitch since college, dog. I'm sorry to offend people, but I'm just saying because these hoes was straight out of pocket, dog. Ooh, Shavi Simmons might be through. Great tackle, but that's one of the beginnings of my, I guess, my origins. And on top of that, right after college, right after I dropped out, I was working at a retail spot. And yeah, working retail, that's a RP experience in and of itself. Understanding when you work at like retail, you start to understand how people get their promotions, how how people get their jobs. By the way, it's not uncommon. Let me see this comment said after every relationship, it's never a woman's fault. Not yeah, this is facts. I have never heard one woman say, I have never heard one woman say, my relationship, the reason why it ended, it was my fault. I was the narcissist. Hopefully I can do better for the next guy. I've never heard that. Now starting to hear that now, but that's because they can monetize the male simps out the RP so they can follow their manosphere channel, right? So like you're seeing women do that now, but that's because they can monetize it now off these manosphere videos. But in real life, if that grift did not exist, it would still be a 0%. I've never heard one woman say it was my fault that my husband divorced me, or it's my fault that my boyfriend broke up with me. I've never heard it. Ever. Never heard it. And I'll even say this, even before my RP journey, I always found it like ridiculous when I would work. I remember working volunteer at a booth for like AYSO, whatever. There was a guy who was, I guess, the head of the foundation. And basically he was talking about, look, I always kept hearing that same advice from older dudes. Hey, look, if you want to keep your marriage going, because I grew up around, especially high school, mostly older white dudes. So they will always say that same bullshit, like, "Oh, you gotta say yes, dear, yes." I'm like, so even if she's wrong, you just gotta just accept it. Nah, that's not no life, bro. That's not a life. That's not a life for me. No, absolutely not. So that's not a life for me, in my opinion. But by the way, right back to the let me see. Yeah, if you were a Jamaican, if you were Jamaican, you would be RP at the early stage of 10 because teens and adults males make sure to minimize the spreading of simps. Like, I'll just say this. It doesn't matter if, I always say this because I was very aware of how politics worked at like eighth grade, religion in 10th grade. I thought I had a head start, but no, bro. If you don't know those dynamics between man and woman, if you don't understand how that works, it doesn't matter what you know, it don't matter how long you went to school for, you're just gonna get used. You're gonna lose all your money that you worked for. This is why it's important to be RP aware about women as early as possible, I believe. You have to understand how that works, or you're gonna get used out here. I'm gonna show people the video. I'm gonna drop the a video. I saw Jada Pickett spit today. Jada Pickett made a video about of all people too. Jada Pickett made a video. I mean, they have a video of Jada Pickett Smith saying why men and women need to be friends. Of all people to make a video about this, she's making a video about this. Jada Pickett Smith. And I'm like, wow. You say pickup artists and chameleons are the bulk of the grifted sphere. Avoid these Yeah. I always say this. People want to talk about the incels or the black pill people um being the worst part of the manosphere. No, I disagree. I believe the pickup artists are an embarrassment. They are the biggest. Like when I start recommending certain people to different channels, I never recommend no PUA. Now the chameleons, I mean, men are gonna be simps. I can't stop that. But the pickup artists are just an embarrassment, dog. Oh, Gakpo got fouled, but the pickup artists, they're worse than the incels. And what the pickup artists, in my opinion, they create the incels. Pickup artists be getting what they do is they prey on impressionable young kids. Um, they prey on them, and what they do is they have these dudes out here that have no business approaching women in real life. They just have these people going out there, wasting people's time, wasting women's time, actually, holding up people in the line in McDonald's and stuff, trying to pick up McDonald's waitresses. And once they get these disappointing results that they're eventually going to get, they are going to turn nihilistic, and then they end up turning into the black pill or to the incel community. That's why PUAs are the worst. You know, with the PUAs talking about you have to approach 100 women. Well, I'm like, what? What productive man? Yeah, PUAs are they're scammers, straight scam artists. I don't believe in what like I this is why, even though I have love for guys like Myron Gaines, Rolo Tomasi, those people, I don't I never endorse them fully because they endorse that PUA stuff. I don't like you shouldn't I think that's just a damn, Doherty's going in. Damn. But they it's a waste of time. I'm not gonna advise the average man to be doing that shit. Ain't no way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But going back to retail, the dirt that you see people doing in these retail jobs is hilarious. Because I already have uh when it comes to like okay, say for example, before I go back into retail, I know about how office jobs work. I know how like if you work in an office, I already know how that works because I don't want to put my business out there, but I would be, I don't mind it. My where my mom works, where my mom used to work, she worked in an office. When she would pick me up, we'd go to. I would literally spend so much time in there. I would hear everything, and I'll say this: a lot of the people you think are doing work, they're not doing work. They're doing nothing. And how about this? I'll give you another example. Teachers. Teachers don't be a lot of teachers, they be doing nothing, dog. I used to be in trouble all the time. I used to go to the office so many times, dog. So much to the point. I remember in second grade, I went like I would literally I would get in trouble. I gotta stay in the office the whole time. Teachers would literally go in and out of the office. They would never know I was there in the principal office because I would have to stay there for the rest of the day. And the stuff that these teachers was talking about, they were talking about nothing, dog. It's literally like listening to grown-up teenagers. Like I've seen more maturity from kids than a lot of the teachers growing up. See, PUAs have legal sponsors that give them a monthly allowance. Yes, that is true. Then they sell bad courses advice to simps. Then when you get Me Too or a false allegation, you need legal representation. That's what I'm saying. Like in the era of Me Too, why are these dudes talking about PUA stuff? These guys is talking about Me Too, talking about uh, uh, picking up randoms in a Me Too era, post Me Too era. It's crazy. And then they get a kickback from the legal firms. They get paid three ways off of one transaction. These PUAs are flat out scammers, agents of the plantation. This is also why a lot of them don't even get demonetized. There's a reason why the MGTOWs got get demonetized first. If you are a MGTOW or former MGTOW, your channel's gonna get demonetized, dog. You're gonna face monetization issues. I already know I'm gonna face monetization issues, even though I don't label myself as anything. Oh, what a touch! Oh, Jesus Christ! But if you identify as MGTOW, you're gonna face monetization issues. Or how about this? If you are a black, like I knew this kid that I did retail with, this was a black atheist conservative. If he starts a YouTube channel, he's gonna face monetization issues. But yeah, the PUAs are scam artists. And I'll say this. Let me say this. I have to give the MGTOWs credit because when I first heard of the MGTOWs, this was when I was watching the Corey Holcomb show. And I kept seeing MGTOW in the comment section in 2018, even though they were around longer than that. But I kept seeing it in the comment section. And when I heard of it, I was like, men going their own way. I was like, to me, it was impossible for me. I'm like, I don't think there's anything that's gonna stop me from fornication. I didn't- like, so I can't completely subscribe to it. But when I really saw these guys, I was like, oh, I get it. And I'm looking at their talking points and what they were saying. I was like, oh, I get it. And I think they were like the MGTOWs, they were way ahead of their time. The MGTOWs were way ahead of their time. And I'll say this, I wish, because I started listening to Corey Holcomb in 2016. I wish going into high school, if I started listening to the Corey Holcomb show, because the Corey Holcomb show started in 2012, if coming into high school, if I had Corey Holcomb shows coming through the high school, my life would have been so much different, dog. So much different. But I think I had to go through the pain that I went through. So when we talk about all teachers are thoughts, right? When I'm pretty matter of fact when I'm talking about trad these fake traditional conservative women, right? When I'm talking about all this stuff. That's where it comes from. Because you got to just see it, man. You got it, and a lot of the times, like I'll say, like the girls in my high school, they were pretty upfront about who they were, so I never had any problems with them. And this is probably why I was shocked going into college because a lot of the stuff that I talk about now, the high school girls actually told me about this stuff. I just didn't want to believe it. I was just like, nah, she would never do something like that. Like it'll be a high school girl when I was in high school, and then they would literally the girl would literally tell me, "Hey, don't hang out with her. She," and I'd be like, "Nah, there's no way. There's no." I'd be like, "Nah, she was so nice. She was so pleasant." And it's always the girls you would never think that would pull off certain shit. You'd be like, "I get it now." Right now it's halftime, but yeah. Later on today, I'm gonna show you the Jada Pickett video. Um, and I'm gonna show you Pyro. I don't know if you remember that video that I showed you about where the woman basically admits why she keeps male best friends around, is so that she doesn't have to pay for her food. I'm gonna show that video with the Jada Pickett. It's gonna be in that video because I am getting tired of these teenage male simps all up in my Instagram mentions, all up in my YouTube. I'm like, don't y'all niggas want to save money? Yeah, I could help you see the red pill behind the red pill, how they use racism, colorism, sexism, ageism, ableism, religion, undermine every aspect. Yeah, that's where, because I was RP aware when it came to religion. And I'll say this, me being RP'd about women completed everything. And I'm gonna tell you why. That's when I started connecting the dots when it comes to racism, colorism, and a lot of this, like when I even started seeing, it really started making me see the truth. And I'll say this, like even like me being RP'd about women, I stopped being pro-black. Yo, I stopped being pro-black in 2016. I stopped being pro-black. It was interesting because I really started seeing who the real victims are. Who are the real perpetrators? And I'll say this, ironically, during that time, the more I started, let me tell you something, like I started listening to more people from the Nation of Islam, like Malcolm X, those guys. Or how about this? The people today, like Minister Farrakhan, Minister Tony Muhammad, the less pro-black I got because their messages were about self-sufficiency and not asking white people for handouts. That's so when I started listening to that message, I was like, oh, okay. If you actually listen to a lot of like like Minister Farrakhan, how about like I remember Malcolm X, he was talking about liberals. You gotta like if you listen to that speech, I was like, oh, I was like, oh, let me see. We're stronger together as a larger group. Everything is broken down to divide and subdivide to get you to think emotionally. That's why I stopped being pro-black. Because I started realizing, black people are being used for votes. So I wasn't, how about this? In high school, because I was RP aware about politics, that's why I was like, man, I'm not voting. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff. But it's way deeper than not voting or whether somebody votes or not. It's a matter of the people have already divided themselves politically, anyways, where, for example, If an English conservative came to America, the average normie American would think he's a liberal, but they have different politics in England. Let me see. Let me see. It's hard to not forget. Well, male Sims are gonna argue down. Yeah, male Sims be arguing me down. I'll be like, wow. If you pro-black, stop asking white people for support. That's what I be saying. I'll be like, these guys are supposed to be. And what I really started realizing, especially around 2016, I just didn't want to admit it. I really was like, I don't think BWs is for us. And that was like, I remember in 2018, I heard Coach Greg Adams say something similar. And I was just like, I don't know. But I just kept seeing too much examples in my life. But what people got to understand, that's natural because we're in a country, right? Whoever's the dominant person, like whoever has the most power, are going to get the women eventually. So it's not even a matter of taking it personal. And unfortunately, a lot of pro-black men are starting to see that. Yeah. But yeah, I'll say like what me like it's interesting. Like I ended up stop being pro-black the more I started listening to the more I started listening to the Nation of Islam and those guys. When I took their messages to heart, I stopped being pro-black. And like in 2016, I did a lot of research on the BLM movement, especially in 2016, because I found it interesting who were the people that were part of that movement. I found it interesting. And I'll say this, in 2016, I found it interesting how people were kept trying to tell me Orange Man bad, Orange Man evil. And then 2018, it finally hit me after listening to my black conservative friend. It finally hit me. And I'll tell you this right now. It finally hit. I made a revelation in 2018. And I don't know why it took me so long to realize this, but in 2018, I realized why it was a lot of, especially liberal white women that were against Orange Man. Unfortunately, what Orange Man did, forget about draining the swamp and all the other stuff. Forget about all that. Or whether he's racist or not, forget about all that. The reason why a lot of women were against Trump, because low key, he exposed what a lot of women do for men with money and power. And that's what they're really mad about. Trump was very on. Oh, I said his name. Crap. Orange Man was very honest about how the system works. And not only that, he was very honest about how women react with men with money and power. You could do whatever you want to do. He was basically putting it out there, and really, women did not like to. They didn't want to hear that shit. So they try to convince the normies that he was this super racist person and whatnot, right? And this is what confirmed it. I remembered, mind you, I remember normies trying to convince me that Orange Man was so bad, right? Now, mind you, I don't like any politician. I don't like any politician, but it was interesting in 2020 and 2019, or yeah, 2020, they're trying to tell me Orange Man bad because he's racist. And I'm like, so what's your solution? Sleepy Joe. And I'm like, Sleepy Joe is literally a confirmed racist. It's like confirmed. There's videos of clips of this. So I was like, so this is not about racism. And then on top of that, you start learning that during that time, when you talk about the Supreme Court, the seat was in contention and the liberals needed somebody in that seat. at all costs. And Orange Man was in the way of that. So it was never about racism or whatever they were trying to make it, but it was interesting. Like these past I'll say these past 6 years of my life have been very interesting once you know what the truth is. I'll say this though. Don't ever bring this stuff up with your colleagues. Yeah, Sleepy Joe, not only like Sleepy Joe is a confirmed racist. Confirmed. But they were trying to so I'm like, so if racism's the problem, why are you telling me to vote for Sleepy Joe? This is crazy. This is insane. And I'll say this. I hope because I need because sometimes white people don't get it. They'll like what I don't like it when white people say, why are all black men liberals or all black men are Democrats or whatever. They have no choice, dude. If you are like I'm it's not I'm not trying to make an excuse, but it's just I've been trying to tell white people for years the reason why black dudes cannot be openly conservatives. They're literally gonna get no woman coming after them. If I don't care if you're a Chad, I mean I don't care if you're a top Tyrone. If you come out as a conservative, I'm talking about black women are not gonna forgive you for that. I'm talking about, I don't care if it's a nerdy black girl. I don't care if it's a liberal. Black women are not gonna, you're gonna be outcasted. I'm just, they don't understand. They don't understand. That's why most black conservatives, they got to keep it to themselves. And now there are a lot of white dudes are now starting to face that same reality where, oh, I can't mess with you if you're a straight white male conservative, whatever. Now, luckily, what happens is eventually, um, white liberal women end up changing teams when they realize conservative men are the only ones that can save them in the future, that want to actually marry them and actually do their traditional roles. So then they switch. But I'm talking about black women will literally still stay on that democratic plantation and just stay on that plantation for the rest of their life. Even if it like so black men can't afford to be openly conservative. They're going to be ousted from their family. They're going to be ousted from getting any woman. So that's why you'll see a lot of black conservative men, you'll see them with white wives or Spanish wives. Yeah, you see, we are very interested in what happens in the black community because they always experiment on the black community first. Exactly. Like I've seen this is why like I wish white dudes could see it first before they rush to judgment, because the reason why I'm not a conservative, even though most of my views are pretty right leaning, the reason why I'm not a conservative is because I still remember watching Fox News and seeing them trash on guys like Terrell Owens, Allen Iverson, or they'll ask about like they did a lot of openly trashing on black men that I still haven't forgiven them for. And they have no idea what's going on in the community. They have no idea. Now they're starting to see. For example, let's take Orange Man for example. Look at all these bogus charges they put in on this guy. These are some of the most they're just like, just throw that charge on him. Throw another charge on him. This is what happened to Bill Cosby, what happened to R. Kelly, what happened to a lot of black people in power. What happened to Trump is what happens to a lot of black people in the entertainment industry that decide to do their own thing. And unfortunately, or how about this? What happened to Matt Ariza, the Bills punter? And Matt Ariza is starting to realize, dude, I'm not going to get another job just because of an allegation. That's been happening to ninjas for years. And during that time, black men got zero support from Fox News. You know what I mean? So I still, because I remember that, that's why for me, I can never be like just completely conservative because that still leaves a bad taste in my mouth watching that as a kid, seeing all of my heroes get torn down by conservative media because they just, and really the reason why they did that is not because they hate black people. This is what people got to understand. It's, they didn't do that because they they hate black men. That's not true. That's not true. This is my theory on this. Anytime you see, say when you see on TV a man gets in trouble for alleged grape, right? Alleged assault. The man has to make himself look good in front of the woman. So what ended up happening is because men have this thing where if they are self-righteous or they're on the higher moral ground, they think that's going to give them more women. That's my opinion on it. And the reason why I still believe that, look at all the simps that attacked me when I said my thing about Riley Gaines. That's a goal. That's a goal. Oh, bruh. Oh, sorry. I'm still watching the game. That's my theory on this. People think, I think what black men get confused, they think that they it's because they hate. Is because they reported on us like that. It's because um they think that white people hate black people. No, 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 no. Of course, you got your Klan members, or you'll have your like super far right people. No, 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 no. Dudes of all races, they always try to hold the moral high ground because they think that's gonna get them women. That's my opinion. That's my opinion on this because and I've really held this belief since college. I really, because everything started making sense after college. I was like, okay, I think that's what it is. And Riley and me reporting on Riley Gaines being a feminist at heart proved true. Watch this. Let me see. Study the deep state, those people who are appointed into positions of power that don't get voted into power but get the elected officials. Well, yeah. This stuff I learned in like sophomore year in high school. And because when I learned it, I thought I knew everything, but I was still missing a lot. All politicians are puppets. It's political action committees that are bought and paid for by the same people. DOR doesn't matter when been bought like a commodity. These are facts. These are facts. This is why I don't claim any of them. But I'll say this. I can understand if you're a black conservative, but to be a black liberal, after all that's come out, that's just ridiculous, dog. I've always understood why, if you're a black man, you're a conservative. I've always understood that. But to be for me to be a black liberal, that's crazy to me. But what people don't understand, most black men are liberal on the outside to the public media, is so they don't lose no hoes. that's that's what I want people to understand. The reason why black men won't come out as conservatives is because they're gonna lose their hoes. That's all that is. That's all that is. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to that until I see otherwise. We all know there's, I'll say most black men with balls are conservative at heart. They just don't want to, they just don't want to put it out there in fear of losing hoes. Oh, what's up, Tactical? Oh man, I was talking about my RP villain's origin story. And I was talking about why black men, a lot of black men are liberals. Is not like I'm trying to tell people, it's not by choice, it's by force. Because if the only reason why black men, I was saying the only reason why black men are liberals on the outside is because if you're an open black conservative, black women are not even going to give you the time of day. But yeah, exactly. Most men are conservative. Well, I'm reading the chat. He said most men are conservative, whereas most women are liberals because they want free stuff at your expense. That's what I had to learn. That's what I had to learn. There you go. Are they though, or is it just a default from who raised them? They never really thought about their. Like I said, men are going to look. I was raised in a. Well, I don't want to put my stuff out there, but because I come from a mostly Christian family, a lot of the people I knew voted conservative. And it was based on religion. So it wasn't like I grew up with people. This is the people I grew up with. This is why I think a little bit different. I grew up with people where they didn't really claim liberal or conservative. What they would do is, okay, whatever candidate came across their TV or computer, they would look up that candidate and literally look up their policies through by through and see if most of their stuff aligned with what they was, whether it be liberal or conservative. Those are the type of people I grew up around. Very level-headed. They wanted to make their own choice. They didn't want to just let be swayed by emotion. But yeah. Oh, I see that 'cause I was the same, but politically, my family and the people I were around voted Democrat. Never gave a reason why, just passively it was about race. I remember in 2012 when I really started doing my research on Barry O. And when I say Barry O, you know who I'm talking about. President 44, Barry O. When I did my research behind him, I was like, oh my God, why was I even a fan of this dude? Now, to my excuse was I was a kid. Like literally, I was a kid. I wasn't even outside of middle school. No, in 2008, I was still in elementary school. So you just think, oh, Barry O wins. Black people win. Yay. No, 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 no. It took me until ninth. Yeah. No, no. At the end of eighth grade, that's when I was like, oh my God, Barry O, he's not for us. He says single mothers can't teach their daughters to be good wives. Most negative aspects of society can be traced back to single mother households. These are facts. I tell this story recently. Anybody that knows Josh Gibson, the Negro League baseball player, I was at his I think his great grandson or his grandson's dinner foundation. I got a gig to play for that foundation for that day. I didn't realize it was I didn't even know it was for him. So this was Josh Gibson's great grandson, and he he was talking about they were doing questions at the end about why is there less black people playing baseball, and there was this woman who was basically she was just frantic and she just kept pegging on, oh no, people are keeping us from playing baseball, or the white man is keeping us from doing this, the white man's keeping us from doing that, and who's blocking us. And then basically she kept asking, okay, why why are white people keeping us from playing baseball and they're taking our spots? And then Josh Gibson's grad, he was like, you know what, he dropped the hammer. He was just like, look, we've had done studies. He was like, look, we've done studies. Since the rise of single mother raised households, the less black people have been joining baseball because, unfortunately, when it comes to single mother households, they only know about basketball and football. And they've done the research that black men that have grew up with a black with the father and mother in the house, or just the father, those kids ended up doing base more were like way more likely to do baseball. Or if they did football and basketball, they would also play baseball. And, and when he brought that up, it just kind of shut her up because at the end of the day, they don't want to fix that problem. A lot of the problems can be traced to the family, and they're not going to take accountability for that. So after that, you're wasting your time. Say, I was the same, but politically, my family and the people, single mothers, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the problems can be traced to single mother raised households. Even like, I'm talking about why there's like, we used to have, what people don't understand, you guys got to do the research. Like, I'm talking about the sports between the 60s and 70s. Do you know, like, the HBCU Howard, they had like a full black soccer team in like the 60s or 70s. They won the whole thing. We they had more black people like in all types of sports in the 60s, 70s. You started seeing the decline of black people in certain sports once the single mother households started being more prominent in the black community. You gotta do your, like, if people did the research on like the sports, how, I'm just talking about, it wasn't like, dude, it wasn't all black people playing football and basketball like that. No, no, no. We had black cyclists, we had black baseball players, a lot more black musicians, hmm, a lot more, a lot. Oh, oh shoot, he's on side. Oh, oh, that's a goal. Oh, so I'm watching the game, but it's just like a lot more. We have black hockey players, believe it or not. Like now that you're starting, what's interesting now is the more black players now you see in baseball. I'm talking about today. Ironically, the more black kids that you're seeing playing hockey, lacrosse, baseball, these kind of sports is because it's like a black father and a white mother, you know. It's crazy. It's yeah, it's not good. Oh man, take care, dog. I'm about to sign off soon. I'm about to sign off soon myself because I already told my villain's origin story. But I'll say this because I keep going back to when it comes to retail jobs, guys. Like retail, like, I believe this, man. What you got to understand is it's a lot of 17-year-olds that go into, before I sign off. Thank you, D man. There's a lot of 17-year-olds that you see that end up working early is because they're already fucking with the manager. Don't ask me how I know, but I've been saying this for a while. Tactical. Let me read this. Legit had a joke about this. Reason why they are into football and basketball is because it only requires one item to play. Everyone from the block chips in to by the ball. Yeah, this is true. But yeah, before I sign off, I just gotta leave you off on this. So, like retail workers, it's a lot of girls messing with the manager, messing with the supervisor. Like, there's a reason why, like, most of the managers that you see at these like janky retail spots is because they're Like you'll end up seeing the managers and supervisors just end up being the guy, the girl with the biggest butt or the biggest tits. Unfortunately, that's how it be. But yeah, I'm a sign off on this. I gotta drop these videos. I gotta upload some of these videos real quick. But I'm gonna sign off in another. Let me give it another 5 minutes. I'm gonna sign off. I'm gonna sign off in 5 minutes. But yeah, man, I'll say, man, in retail. But that's why in retail you'll see like the prettiest girls. I remember I was working at Home Depot, and I remember I'll never forget this because this is this is how like you're like it's like when it's a real innocent girl where you just see like her eyes are so bubbly and just full of life. And this girl, she was 17, she just going around with her application, and she was like, excuse me, sir. Um, do you think even though I gave my application, uh do you think they will accept me? And I'm literally looking at her. I'm just like, nah, you'll be fine. Because and I didn't want to give her the real reason why. I was just like, yeah, you'll be straight. Just nonchalantly, yeah, you'll be straight. And I had to explain to her about you're better off doing it online anyways, but you know, it's good for you to, go out. If you since you have the time, it's good for you to go out and look for a job yourself, but you might as well do it online. But if they do look at you in person, because these managers like I'm gonna tell you this, man. These managers, they kill me. I'm sorry, men kill me. Like this is where men can be such big hypocrites because they like to act all self-righteous when it comes to cheating. Anytime I see a man say, "Oh, I wouldn't cheat." Oh, these are the same men once they get a promotion at their job, they always put themselves in a position where they're messing with multiple women. Every single time. Every single time. They get is one promotion. That's why their wife or their girlfriend, they be trying to prevent that ninja from getting a promotion because they know what happens. But yeah, I still I don't remember the girl's face, but I remember that girl just asking me these. I was like, oh man. I was like, man, I feel bad. I feel bad for her already. She wasn't a straggle though. She was. I remember she wasn't a straggle, but she's one of those girls. I already could tell that it was gonna be. It can be a dirty game. It can be a dirty game. But yeah, let me sign off on this. Let me sign off on this because I gotta drop these videos about Jada Pickett Smith. I gotta drop this video about Diddy. I gotta drop these videos real quick. I'm gonna sign off on this game because this game is boring as hell, dog. But yeah, thank you, man, for tuning in. In the beginning, if you want to see the beginning of my origin story on the RP, I'm gonna drop the link to those two videos that I did about that, and it's gonna be in the beginning of this live stream. So, man, peace out. Thank you, man.